Hello everyone, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com's transformation guide for the Toynami 155 scale Masterpiece Robotech Beta toys. This same toy was released with a slightly different paint variation by Aoshima as a 148 scale New Century Ally most speed up beta toy. You could read more about that in my review on anymoon.com. When you first get your toy, step one is to install these, I'm going to call them laser guided bombs, but that might not be what they really are. So you attach this and you now have a completed Batloid toy. In Mospeada you would call it soldier mode toy. Looks pretty good. Now you're ready to move on to your bomber mode. I'm going to skip any semblance of a Garewalk mode, or Guardian mode I should say. Because one, it was never in one in the anime that I recall, other than a VTOL sequence maybe, and two, it would just look kind of silly. So, you start by making sure your head is perfectly straight, and then lifting up. So I've brought the chest upward, collapsed the head inside. Now I can collapse these bombs on the back and bring them down and slide them inward. So that kind of locks everything in place like that. Now I can focus on the hands. You rotate them so they're in their most unnatural looking position. And then you just lift up and rotate. And then you can collapse it shut like that. You'll hear a nice click. Lets you know you've done everything right, and everything will be nice and flat. I can stick with the arms here. Get them in the position that obviously looks right with the way everything else is positioned. And then you can just bring them upward. There is a slot on the side of the chest that can fit into the wing area once the wing is slid out. So that is how you lock things in place at this juncture. There you go. Now you should bring back this burner here, get it positioned how you want it, and you can rotate the whole legs mechanism like so. At this point you can bring the toe out, and these thrusters, which are a little greasy. Of course, they would have to be very difficult. Alright, well, that one's fighting me a little bit. You get the idea with the other one. You can now pull the legs straight out. Bring them up. Just do one at a time, I suppose. And you can see these teeth go into these holes right here. And you've also got a peg on the wing here that I had showed you. You can fit into this slot and that peg hole, and that will lock everything together pretty tightly for you. Now you're going to do the same thing obviously on the opposite side. Get that in there. Okay. There you have it. The cockpit has slid forward. Now there's nothing really locking the cockpit into place. Now, if you didn't notice it when I was transforming the legs slid away from the body a little bit. Again, there's nothing that locks them in either position, so it just kind of happens naturally as you go through the motions. There's a plug now that you install here. But I will now take a pause, show you what happens with the landing gears and everything else. Alright, once you've reached this level, there's just a couple little fine-tuning things to do. One, check and make sure that your chest knobs here are fully extended forward. It helps to cover up the gap in between the cockpit and the fuselage behind it. Now, it'd be nice if it also locked the cockpit forward, but it doesn't do that. But this isn't a review, it's just a transformation guide. Alright, so you have some options here. One, you could install just a plug and that will cover up the arm extension point, or you can install one of the attached arms. You can also open up these trap doors on the side of this back booster, and that reveals pegs that you can, or slots, that you can peg these landing gear into. These are nice die-cast metal heavy-duty landing gears that fit into these little hexagonal slots like so. There's also one that plugs right into the front of the arm, and boom, you have your Beta toy with its landing gears extended. Alright, so you've been flying your little Alpha toy around, and now you're ready to connect it to the Beta. So step one, as you saw in the show, would be to collapse your fins on your Alpha. Step two would be to collapse the nose on the Beta and push the little chest slots back. Step two, you're going to want to bring the feet apart a little bit. Although, now things get a little bit exciting. All you're going to try to do is rest this piece of the Alpha's crotch into the slot at the top of the arm. So it should just kind of, well, it's easier said than done sometimes, but should just be able to slide it back. There we go. And then pop it in. And there you have it. So, arm is in. Alpha is in. The wingspan is quite huge, so you'll forgive me for not swinging this thing around too much. But as you can see, I'm just kind of holding it by the back of the Beta, and everything is holding up just fine. Again, there would be some fine tuning to get it just how you want it. But that is it in a nutshell. Okay, so let's check out what if we had a Batroid mode Alpha. Okay, you have your Masterpiece Alpha toy. You've got that transformed into Batloid mode. Now you take out your Toynami Beta accessories, and you'll have a stand with another arm for holding the Alpha. So you'll take your Beta, you will remove the current arm, you will detach your landing gear, you will close your landing gear doors, and you will simply plug the Beta onto the display stand. Now the problem here is that without an Alpha, this thing's just going to fall backwards. So now you collapse the cockpit, take your Alpha, and put it on like so. Okay, so that is it. Now you've got your Alpha, your Beta connected in Batloid mode. You would pose your Alpha to make it look a little bit more impressive than it does currently, like a ragdoll sitting in front. But that should give you a good feel for it. You can also use Toynami's non-transformable superposable Batloid toys. Those do a good job and are a little less scary to fiddle with. Alright, thanks for viewing. Check out anymoon.com for my full review.